BWB Wagon Buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up and don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as it uploads to YouTube. All right, family, so I gotta go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. I did a video in where I talked about Colorado's running back situation. In that video, I talked about Dylan Edwards and I compared him to other running backs that are in the Big 12, the competition that we're going to be facing in 2024. And what we learned in that video is the fact that the Big 12 runs the ball very heavy. Running backs that average 6 yards per carry, most of them got over 1,000 yards for the season for 2023. So the Big 12 is obviously very good at running the ball. We really have to work on stopping the run because that was one of the biggest issues that we had in 2023. So in this video, what I want to do is look at our linebackers room, compare their production in 2023 to other linebackers in the Big 12. So let's go ahead and take a look at Colorado's linebackers room. I'm not going to hold my breath until I see these guys practicing, but just for the video's sake, I'm going to go ahead and include them. So we're starting with the most productive linebacker. That's going to be Levante Bentley. He had 40 solo tackles, 5 sacks for 2023. The next player that we have is Jalen Wester. He's coming in from Florida Atlantic. This is the player that Shador reached out to. I believe he sent a tweet or he X'd it. He tweeted that, okay? Forget about that X stuff. He tweeted him and was like, yo, man, I need you in Boulder, or I need you with the Buffs. Tap in. And he did tap in. I'm excited that he actually responded to Shador, and he is going to be a Buff, hopefully. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be very careful with these guys. Something changes their minds and they both up out of here, but hopefully he will stick with it, all right? 33 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. That's great production that we're definitely going to need in 2024. Our next player is Keaton Wade, and Keaton Wade is transferring in from Kentucky. His production in 2023 was 17 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 0 forced fumbles or interceptions. Our next productive player is Nikhil Webster Walker. I believe this is the Jamaican that transferred from New Mexico State, the Aggies. His performance in 2023 is 15 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Going down the line to our next productive linebacker is going to be Jeremiah Brown. He has 7 solo tackles for 2023. And then our next guy is Damari Kennedy, who had 4 solo tackles in 2023. And then finally, we have Brandon Gint. Brandon Gint had 2 solo tackles in 2023. The rest of the guys did not either get any reps. They were either redshirted or they did not get no reps, or they just didn't have no stats. Maybe they got into the game and they didn't have no stats, but there's no stats for Morgan Pearson. And then finally, we have the last 2, which is going to be Kofi Taylor Barracks and Victory Johnson. So that's our linebackers room. I feel like we need more linebackers for us to have depth, okay? Because people get hurt. During the season, a lot of things transpire. Somebody doesn't practice well enough for Coach Prime, and Coach Prime is not going to play them. So we need DEPTH, that DEPTH that I always talk about. We need depth. We need to make sure that we're not just looking at a couple of guys that can produce, but we need to make sure that this room is bolstered. In order for us to be as competitive as we need to be able to stop the crazy run of the Big 12, we definitely need more linebackers. So there was actually a list that was put out by Tony Casolo of the Buffalo's Wired at usatoday.com, where we have a couple of prospects that are in that transfer portal that we can go after. So let me give you that information before I do the comparison to the other linebackers that are on the teams that we're going to be facing. Let's go. All right, guys, so this is Colorado Buffalo's Wired at usatoday.com. 5 transfer portal linebackers Colorado should target. Shout out to Tony Casolo for this list. Tony, what's up, man? Hope all is well. Buff Nation was excited about the addition of DJ Lundy and his run-stuffing abilities at the linebackers position. Unfortunately, he's now headed back to Florida State, meaning more work must be done to bolster Colorado's linebackers room. So where do the Buffs go from here? Colorado needs another veteran's voice in that group because as its roster currently stands, the Buffs has a trio of senior linebackers in Levante Bentley, Brendan Gint, and Damari Kennedy to go along with 3 redshirt freshmen as backups. While I'm intrigued by the guys like Kofi Taylor Barracks and Morgan Pearson, comparison, here are 5 additional transfer linebackers Colorado should target. Obviously, we already got Jalen Wester off of this list from Florida Atlantic, so I'm going to go ahead and cross him off of that, guys. In case you didn't know that, he's 6'1", he weighs about 200 pounds. This name should sound familiar as Colorado secured the commitment of LaJohntay Wester, the older brother of recent bust wide receiver commit Jalen Wester. Wester played 2 seasons at Florida Atlantic, piling up 116 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. All right, so who's the first guy that we should target in the transfer portal? That's going to be Ethan Barr from Vanderbilt. Ethan Barr is 6'3", he weighs 210 pounds. Barr is a recent addition to the transfer portal due to the coaching shakeups across the country. The former Vanderbilt captain had committed to Washington but re-entered the transfer portal after it was announced that head coach Kalen DeBoer was headed to Alabama. Colorado has dipped its toes in Commodore waters once already, and Barr will be another great pickup. All right, so the next player we can target in that transfer portal would be Julian Simon from Tulsa. He's 6'2" and weighs 221 pounds. Julian Simon spent 1 season at Tulsa after transferring from USC and played in 12 games for the Hurricanes while racking up 58 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. 58 is a pretty good number. We could definitely use that production. The next player to target in the transfer portal is going to be Manny Nunnery from Florida. Manny is 6'2", he weighs 205 pounds. Nunnery got spot duty for the Gators last season, playing in 12 games while registering 28 tackles, 0.5 sacks. Colorado has frequently looked to the Sunshine State for transfer talent, and getting a player with SEC experience is always beneficial. Who's the next guy we should target in that transfer portal? Is going to be none other than Clayton Cole, Ball State. He's 6'3", he weighs 235 pounds. A highly productive linebacker from Ball State. Cole has been granted a medical red shirt because of injury issues he sustained during the 2023 season. Before that, Cole had back-to-back 100 tackle seasons for the Cardinals. Can you imagine we get a linebacker that has 100 tackles, that's bringing in the type of production? That'll be great for us to stop the run in the Big 12. Obviously, these are just potential targets that we could be targeting, making offers to in the transfer portal. I am not saying for any reason that these are guys that we have made offers to. It is possible. Coach Prime is obviously not going to tell us who he's targeting. We need some dogs for sure. Now I want to turn my attention to actually looking at some of the rankings of some of the other linebackers that are in the Big 12. Make sure you keep our numbers in mind as we take a look at the competition. Let's go. We're not necessarily new because we used to be in the Big 12 10 years ago. Now we're just going back home to the Big 12 where it all started. 10 years later, there are new players, new teams, new coaches, and new linebackers. So we're going to take a look at some of the linebackers that are in the Big 12 that may pose a problem for us. So I found this article from HeartlandCollegeSports.com that's actually ranking the top linebackers in the Big 12 prior to the 2023 season. So what this article is doing in the way that we're going to consume this information, they're rating the top linebackers that are coming in for 23. So I am going to give you the 2023 numbers. These should be the more productive linebackers that are in the Big 12. So out of the ranking, I just picked out the teams that we're actually playing, and we're going to take a look at their linebackers. Texas is no longer going to be in the Big 12, having the best linebackers in the Big 12, and we don't have to worry about them, so I'm glad that we ain't got to worry about them. Coming in number 2 is going to be TCU. Their linebackers are pretty good. We beat TCU 2023, and we don't have to worry about them because we're not playing them in 2024. The first team is going to be Oklahoma State. Projected starters: Colin Oliver, Xavier Benson, Justin Wright, or Kendall Daniels. 3 teams had an argument for the top spot at linebacker, and Oklahoma State was the final team on that list, with standout defensive end Colin Oliver moving to Sam. This unit is arguably as strong as there is out there. Xavier Benson leads all returners in tackles, 76, following closely by Kendall Daniels, 71, who had a breakout year for the Pokes in 2022. Justin Wright comes in after 101 tackles and 10.5 tackles for Tulsa last season. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if this group leads the conference statistically in 2023. All right, so how did they do in 2023? Let's look at their numbers. First person is going to be Kendall Daniels. He's 6 foot, 213 pounds. He is a sophomore. He recorded 62 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and 1 pass deflection. We got Colin Oliver. He's 6'2", 235 pounds. He's a junior. He recorded 45 solo tackles, 6 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions in 2023. That's not bad bad for a depth chart. Our top guy has 40 solo tackles and 5 sacks. That's just kind of putting it in perspective as far as depth is concerned. How is the next guy up looking for Oklahoma State? Xavier Benson. He is a senior, 6'2", 224 pounds, 37 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumble. This is the third guy on the depth chart. Just think about it. Just trying to put it in perspective for you guys to understand like how some teams are stacked. The 4th ranked team is Oklahoma. We do not play Oklahoma, so we're going to move on. Number 5 ranked is Baylor. We don't play them. The 6th ranked team as far as linebackers is concerned in the Big 12 is going to be Kansas State. We do play Kansas State. Let's look at their numbers for sure. Here are their projected starters. You got Desmond Purnell, Austin Moore, you got Daniel Green, and you got VJ Payne. Austin Moore led K-State with 87 tackles and 8.5 tackles for loss in 2022. 87 tackles is not bad, bruh. 87 tackles is a problem, homie. Returning after earning second team all Big 12 honors. Daniel Green, who was 4th in tackles, 58, also returns after starting 13 games last season. 13 means they made a bowl and he played in the bowl, okay? Desmond Purnell will have an extended role in 2023 as will VJ Payne, but this group should be just as strong, especially after they add Terry Kersey, a top 50 JUCO linebacker a season ago. All right, so let's take a look at their 2023 productions. Their first productive linebacker is going to be VJ Payne. He is a sophomore, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's the guy that did the most. His production in 2023, 44 solo tackles, 1 interception, and he had 3 pass deflections. That 3 pass deflections means that he got after that ball, he knocked that ball down, made sure that it did not get to its destination wide receiver. That is VJ Payne. Who's the guy that is starting next to him? That'll be Austin Moore. Austin Moore is a senior. He's 6'1", weighs 219 pounds. What was Austin Moore's production in 2023? 40 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks. He was pretty productive in 2023. That's not bad for the next guy up. That's the depth we're talking about. You need that depth. That's the guy that starts next to him. They're pretty active over there. Who is the next guy up on their depth chart? This is guy number 3. This is the third guy. Keep that in mind. This is their third linebacker, okay? That's going to be Desmond Purnell. He's a sophomore. He's 5'11". He weighs 224 pounds. His 2023 contributions, 34 solo tackles, 0.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. Not too shabby for the third guy. That's depth. D-E-P-T-H. You need that to go deep into the playoffs. So besides that third guy, there's a 4th guy that had production. That's Daniel Green. He's a senior, 6'3", 245 pounds. And his contribution was 10 solo tackles, 1 sack. That's not too bad for that 4th guy on that depth chart. This could be a guy that steps up and has a big year for his teams. We're looking at Damari Kennedy. We're looking at other guys to step up this year. Maybe Victory steps up. We don't know who's going to step up. But remember, Coach Brown's policy is the way you practice is how you're going to play. Somebody may practice well and they may show up. We're looking to our linebackers to really step up because the daggone Big 12 runs the ball heavy. They run the ball crazy in the Big 12. We need these guys to step up. If you guys are hearing me, you're watching this video, y'all got to step up. You understand what I'm saying? Step up. Stop playing around, okay? Let's go. And just in case you're wondering, did Terry Kersey do anything? That JUCO guy? Nah, he didn't do nothing. Terry, he got no records, okay? That's Terry Kersey Jr. He is a 6'3", 232 pounds, okay? He got no stats, just in case you were wondering. You're like, what happened to that JUCO guy you mentioned? That's the JUCO guy. He got nothing. The 7th ranked team as far as linebackers is concerned in the Big 12 is going to be UCF. Projected starters are going to be Tremont Morris Brash, Jason Johnson, Ryan Davis. What is said about those guys? If the production from this group translates to the Power 5 level, UCF defense might be better than advertised in 2023. Jason Johnson returned after 126 tackles and 4 tackles for loss in 2022 and is joined by Tremont Morris Brash, who led the Knights in sacks, 6 sacks, and tackles for loss, 7.5. Both Johnson and Morris Brash were first team All AAC. All right, that's not ACC for those people who may have some type of dyslexia like me. All right, that's AAC a season ago, and their new companion Ryan Davis, Georgia, was a national champ a year ago. As a former blue chip linebacker, Davis has high expectations, and if he lives up to them, UCF will surprise some folks that made sure to say that. All right, all that writing is all good. You know what I'm saying? Poetry is nice, but what was their production in 2023? Let's look at them. First linebacker we're looking at from UCF is going to be Jason Johnson. He's a senior, 6'2", 224 pounds. His production in 2023, 66 solo tackles, 3 sacks. That is really good for production in 2023. Not bad at all, young man. Not bad at all. Guy next to him was Tremont Marsh Brass. He is a senior, 6'2", 245 pounds. And what was his production in 2023? 38 solo tackles, 8.5 sacks. That boy loves himself some quarterback, boy. He gets after that quarterback. 8.5 sacks. That's not bad at all. Boy, Shador, when we play these guys, you got to make sure we stop that young man. We got to block him. Block him. Block him. I ain't like you block some guys in the comment section. On the depth chart, we have Ryan Davis. He is a senior, 6'2", 230 pounds. Are you guys peeking anything? Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? If you're picking up what I'm putting down on the narrative, that's a bunch of seniors, okay? So our third guy on that depth chart, 7 solo tackles in 2023. That's all he had. That's depth for you, okay? Iowa State was ranked number 8. We don't play them. We're going to give them a bye. BYU goes bye-bye because we don't play them, so we're not going to worry about them. We do play Cincinnati. Let's look at their projected starters. We got Daniel Graciak, Deion Hunter, you know, like Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, Deion Hunter, Jack Dingo, and then we have Deshaun Pace. So what are you guys saying about them? What is this great stuff you're going to write about them, you great writers? Let's get one thing out of the way. Deshaun Pace is a stud, okay? But replacing his brother's production from a season ago, 137 tackles, 10 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss is going to be a task. Deshaun started 8 games a year ago and is Cincy's leading returning tackler, 62. Deion Hunter, New Mexico, and Daniel Graciak from Utah State transfer in and will help offset the loss of 4 of UC's top 5 tacklers from a season ago. All right. With all the great writing and stuff like that, poetry is beautiful, but how was the physical production in 2023? Let's look at them. All right, so here's the depth chart. We're starting off with Deshaun Pace. They were right. He was the top producer, senior, 6'2", 212 pounds. His production in 2023, 42 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and look at that, 5 pass deflections. Guys, 5 pass deflection. That boy is a beast, okay? When they said he was a stud, okay? He could play. That's right. And one of those he caught for an interception. He was like, bye-bye, that's mine. There was at least 5 times where wide receivers were pissed off because the ball did not get to him. He deflected it. That's not bad for depth. Okay, let's look on that depth chart. Who's next up? Jack Dingo. He's a sophomore, 6'4", 238 pounds. And what was his contribution in 2023? 28 solo tackles, 1 sack. That's the guy that plays next to the next guy. You understand what I'm saying? Depth. D-E-P-T-H. And who was next up is going to be Daniel Graciak. He's a senior. He's 6'1", 250 pounds. His 2023 production was 22 solo tackles. He had 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And then we had Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter. Deion Hunter. He's a junior. He's 6'2", 235 pounds. His production was 3 solo tackles. But remember, these are depth guys. These are the guys that we are expecting to step up next year. Whatever confidence they lacked, whatever they were not doing in practice, they learned their lesson, okay? He's a junior, ranked number 11 for linebackers in the Big 12 was West Virginia. We don't play them, so it doesn't matter. We do play Texas Tech, so we got to stop right there and look at them. What are they saying? What are the writers saying? What is this beautiful thing that's going to rock us to sleep? What are you saying? Projected starters, Josiah Pierre. We got Jacob Rodriguez. And then the third person is going to be CJ. They call him Bakersfield over here. I believe that will be a typo. I don't know who got it wrong, but ESPN is calling him CJ Baskersville. So I'm going to go with ESPN as Baskersville. One of the players I am most excited about in 2023 is Texas Tech linebacker Josiah Pierre. In 2022, Pierre flashed in 10 starts, collecting 44 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for a loss, and 3 quarterback hurries. He will need to lead an otherwise unproven group with Jacob Rodriguez, 29 tackles in 2022, and transfer star CJ Baskersfield, all right, not Bakersfield, San Diego State being projected as the other starters. Being behind a strong D-line will certainly help their cause, though, and could help the new faces players get up to speed quickly. Yeah, man, that defensive line, we need to get our defensive line corrected too, because just like our O-line, they were also trash, right? That's what y'all say, they were trash. O-line and D-line, I don't think y'all are trash, okay? I know y'all weren't trash. There was a lot of other circumstances, but I'm not calling y'all trash. I'm leaving it to the people in the comments. You understand what I'm saying? How did it actually do in 2023? Let's go. With the most production in 2023, that would be CJ Baskersville. Now, he's a junior, 6'3", weighs 215 pounds. His production in 2023, 54 solo tackles, he had 2 interceptions, and he had 5 pass deflections, guys. 5 pass deflections. Lining up next to him was going to be Josiah Pierre. He's a senior, 6'2", 240 pounds. What was his contribution in 2023? 31 solo tackles, 0.5 sacks. That was his contribution. That's not bad at all for the next guy up. And the next production guy was who? Jacob Rodriguez, okay? He's a junior, 6'1", 235 pounds. What was his contribution for 2023? 22 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. All right, guys, so it was a 14 teams ranking, and the final team that we do play on this rankings is going to be Kansas. So let's look at their projected starters. This guy is Taiwan Berryhill. They probably call him Tywin. They spell Taiwan, but I'm sure they call him Tywin. The next guy is Rich Miller, and then Craig Young. The good news, Kansas returns all 3 starters at linebacker from a season ago, with Miller 94 and Young 60, representing 2 of their top 3 tacklers in 2022. The bad news, Kansas defensive line got worse this offseason, and they allowed 209.2 rushing yards per game as a year ago. If KU's linebackers are forced to try and plug massive holes in the running game, it's going to be a long season defensively, no matter how much experience they return. Boy, that is reminiscence of a team that we know, huh? Clearing my throats there. All right, anyways, all that beautiful writing, the good news, the bad news is all good, but how did it really do in 2023? Let's look at it. We're obviously starting with the most productive player. That's going to be Rich Miller. He's a senior. He's 6'1", weighs 230 pounds. And what was his production in 2023? 41 solo tackles, 2 sacks. That's what he produced in 2023. Not bad. Not bad at all. On that depth chart, who else stepped up and played? Craig Young. He's a senior, 6'3", 225 pounds. And his contribution was 29 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 1 interception. Our next guy is going to be Tywin Berryhill Jr. He is a junior. Yes, he is a junior. 6'2", 230 pounds. I'm sure his daddy was proud of him having the same name. He's a junior, remember? 27 solo tackles and 1 sack in 2023. The last team that was ranked is going to be Houston. Obviously, we don't play Houston, so we don't have to worry about them. But I want to let you guys know, man, the numbers that you're taking a look at are going to give you a perspective of how these players are going to produce. Our numbers don't look that bad either. We have pretty similar numbers, even though some of these teams' numbers are much better than our numbers. Levante Bentley was our top producer, which concerns me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. That concerns me a little bit that Levante Bentley was our best producer, and guess what? He lost his starting job in the season, and then he got it back out of situational circumstances. You're getting a guy that was benched, and then he got his job back. We know our team. I don't know the narrative on the other teams, but Levante Bentley being our best guy, I don't know, man. I really don't feel comfortable. I feel like we need more guys. We don't just want to be just okay. We don't want to be okay. We want to be way better than good. My prescription is we need a couple more linebackers. We need to bolster that linebackers room, because I feel like for us to be better than just okay, we need to make sure we're stopping the run. And these linebackers are going to be instrumental depending on how the defensive line plays. Our linebacker is going to provide that extra sauce, making sure we're stopping the run, getting after the quarterback, those pass deflections, the interceptions. I don't really like what we did on defense because too many teams were running the ball too much. We saw several times where we didn't even get the ball back. If we gave them the ball with 6 or 7 or 8 minutes left in the game, we never got it back because we just couldn't stop the run and teams were just running the ball. And then at the end, end, if all they needed was a field goal, they just went and scored a field goal with 1 second left. Come on now. We can't have that happen in 2024. We need to make sure we are able to stop the run. So I hope this video provided you more insight into the Big 12 linebackers. Obviously, it's not all of the teams, that we're playing, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse into the Big 12 and what we are looking forward to in 2024. So if you like this information, guys, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to smash that like button and help this channel grow. I appreciate you. I'm going to leave it right there.